Welcome everyone to the class of computer networks and data communication. So we will be discussing network layer and logical addressing. So we already know network layer is the third layer of the OSI reference model which handles IP addressing. We have already learnt about different types of addressings in computer that are used in computer networking. So typically we are using IPv4 addresses, and IPv4 address is a 32-bit address that uniquely defines the connection of a device, for example, a computer to a router or to any other computers, or a computing device to routers or to a server. So we'll be discussing address spaces, notations, classful addressing, classless addressing, and network address translation. An IPv4 address is 32 bits long, so the addresses are unique and universal. The address space of IPv4 is 2 to the power 32, which is around 429 crores. The dotted decimal notation and binary notation. The IPv4 address can be expressed in two ways: the dotted notation and the dotted decimal notation and the binary notation. So over here, this is our dotted decimal notation. 4 bytes are separated by dots, and this shown above is our binary format of the IP addresses. So let's say we have a simple example for changing the IPv4 addresses from binary to dotted decimal notation. So 4 bytes of two IP addresses have been expressed, and we already know the way to convert the IP addresses into, we already know how to convert binary to decimal and decimal to binary. So using that mechanism, so we can convert binary address to dotted decimal or vice versa. Similarly, we are here, as I have already said, how to convert from dotted decimal to binary. So we will be just converting every byte of the IPv4 address to their respective binary forms, and putting them together we'll get the binary form of the dotted decimal notation. Now this is an example. Let's say we have an IP address like 111.56.045.78. So this address is not a valid IP address. Why? Now here we are having 045. Leading zeros are not allowed. Had it been 45 only, it would have been alright. But it's a 045, it's not a valid IP address. Next, 221.34.7.8.20. This is again not a valid IP address because there are 5 parts in this particular IP address that is not accepted. Here in 75.45.301.14, this is again not a valid IP address. Why? Now 301 is not allowed. We can have only in the range of 0 to 255. Now this, it may look alright, but again this is a combination of dotted decimal and binary. Now we cannot have a hybrid kind of IP address. Either it has to be a dotted decimal or it has to be a binary. In classful addressing, the classful address space is divided into 5 classes: A, B, C, D, and E. So finding the classes in binary and dotted decimal notation. So class A, the range of the first byte. So we'll be looking, in order to define the class of an IP address for dotted decimal notation, we'll be looking to the first byte. If the first byte is in the range of 0 to 127, it's in class A. 128 to 191, it's in class B. 192 to 223 goes to class C. 224 to 239 goes to class D. 240 to 255 goes to class E. Now if you look into the binary notation, the first byte or the first place of the first byte, if it is 0, then it is a class A. If the first two places are 10, it's class B. If the first three places are 110, it's in class C. If the first four places are 1110, it's in class D. If first four places are class 1, then it is class E. Now find the class of each address. For address A, written as number A, here we have the first place of first byte is 0. So this is a class A address. For number problem B, the first place is 1, the second place is also 1, the third bit is 0. So this is a class C address. As we have seen here, this is a class C address. Here this is 14.23.120.8. So 0 to 127 it's class A, 0 to 127 it's class A. So 14.23.120.80 belongs to class A IP address. Now we have an address 252.5.15.111. The first byte is 255. So this is in class E. Now this is a table which mentions number of blocks and block sizes in classful IPv4 addressing. Now in classful addressing, a large part of the available addresses are wasted. Now coming to the masks used for classful addressing. In class A, we will be using a mask of 255.0.0.0. For class B, it is 255.255.0.0.0. Sorry, it's 255.255.0.0. For class C, it's 255.255.25.0. And the mask, default mask for class A can be slash 8. For class B, it can be slash 16. Class C, it can be slash 24. Classful addressing, which is almost obsolete, replaced with classless addressing. Here, this figure shows a block of addresses granted to a number of hosts, represented in both in decimal format and binary format. The starting address is 205.16.37.32 and the final address is 205.16.37.47. Here the same 16 number of addresses are mentioned in both binary on the right side and decimal on the left side. An IPv4 addressing a block in an IPv4 addressing, a block of addresses can be defined as x.y.z/x.y.z.t/n, in which x.y.z.t defines one of the addresses and /n defines the mask. The first address in the block can be found by setting the rightmost 32 minus n bits to zeros. So a block of address is granted to a small organization. We know that one of the addresses is 205.16.37.39/28. Suppose we have to find out the first address in the block. Now we'll be converting this particular IP into its binary form, except the masking part. We'll be converting this particular IP address into its binary format, and the binary format is here. So this mask is 28, so we'll be setting 32 minus 28 rightmost zeros to 0. So we are setting rightmost bits to zeros. So after setting the rightmost bit to 0, we are again converting them into decimal and we are receiving 205.16.37.32, which is the first address in the range of address block. Now the last address can be found by setting rightmost 32 minus n bits to 1s. Similarly, we are converting them into binary. Now we will be setting the rightmost 4 bits to 1. And after converting from binary to decimal, we are receiving 205.16.37.47. The number of addresses can be found out by setting 2 to the power 32 minus the mask address. So here in this example, we have mask address is 28. So 2 to the power 32 minus 28 equal to 2 to the power 4 or 16. So there is another way to find out the range of addresses. Let's say we have the same IP address on the mask of 28. This mask of 28 means that 28 bits out of the 32 bits of the IPv4 address will define the network, and the last 4 bits will define the host. So in this case, the binary conversion of the mask of 28 would be 28 number of ones and 4 number of zeros. Now in order to find out the first IP address in the range, so we'll be doing an AND operation of the binary format of the IP address and the binary format of the mask, which gives us the first IP address, and if you want, we can convert them into the dotted decimal notation. The last address can be found out by doing an OR operation of the given IP address and the complement of the mask. So the initial mask was 28 number of ones and 4 number of zeros. After complementing them, it would be 28 number of zeros and 4 number of ones. So after doing the OR operation of the address as the mask complement, we'll be receiving the last address. In order to find out the total number of addresses in the range, we will be taking the binary of the complemented mask and we'll be converting the complemented mask from binary to decimal and add 1 to this. So this gives us 1111 from binary to decimal is 15, and 15 plus 1 is 16. The first address in the block is normally not assigned to any device. It's used as a network address that represents the organization to the rest of the world. So each address in a block can be considered as a two-level hierarchical structure. The leftmost n bits define the network and the rightmost 32 minus n bit define the host. So this we can see a combination of various sub-networks inside a single network which is connected via a router to provide access to the outer world. So an ISP is granted, let's say we have a problem of providing IP addresses to different hosts and their different users. So an ISP is granted a block of addresses starting with 190.100.0.0/16. So /16 means we will be having 2 to the power 32 minus 16, that is equal to 2 to the power 16 or 65,536 number of addresses. Now the ISP has to distribute the addresses to 3 groups of customers with the following requirements. Number A says the first group has 64 customers, each needs 256 addresses. So for this group, each customer needs 256 addresses. This means that to log of 256 base 2, that is log of 2 to the power 8 base 2, which is 8 bits are needed to define each host. So the prefix length would be 32 minus 8 equal to 24. And the addresses would be for first customer 190.100.0.0/24 to 190.100.0.255/24. Similarly, for the second customer, it would be 1.0/24 to 1.255/24. Similarly, we'll be going on till the 64th customer. The IP address would be 190.100.63.0/24 to 190.100.63.255/24. The total number of addresses are 64 number of hosts, 256 addresses each. So for this, we have 16,384 addresses used for case 1. Now for case 2, each group, each customer needs 128 addresses. So in this case, if we go back to the problem, it says for the second case, we have 128 customers and each customer needs 128-bit addresses. So 128-bit addresses means, so the 128 customers means we'll be having log of 128 base 2, that is 7 bits are needed to define each host. So the prefix length would be 32 minus 7 equal to 20, or which we can call as the mask length would be 25. Now the addresses are 190.100.64.0/25 to 64.1.127/125. This is for the first customer. Now why we are starting with 64.0 here? Because we have consumed up to 63.255 here. So we have no other option, but in this way, if you are arranging sequentially, we have to go sequentially. So we'll be arranging from 64.0/25 to 64.127/25. For second customer, it would be 64.127/28 to 64.255/25. So finally, with 128th customer, it would be 190.100.127.128/25 to 127.255/25. So total will be having 128 into 128, that is 16,384 number of customers. For group 3, if we go back, let's say we go back to the problem once again. So the third group has 128 customers again, and each group requires 64 customers. So for 64 customers, log of 64 base 2, that is 6 bits are needed. So the masking address would be 32 minus 6 equal to 26. So the last address here was 127.255. So we'll be starting here 190.128.0/26 to 128.63/26 for the first customer. For the second customer again 128.64 to 128.127. Similarly at 128 customer it would be 159.122/26 to 159.255/26. Total number of addresses, number of customers 128, number of addresses 64, multiplied together gives us 892. So total number of addresses utilized in all these three examples is 42,960, and subtracting it from the total number of addresses, we have 24,576 addresses available. Now this figure shows how these addresses are allotted and how these addresses are left unallotted from the previous example. Network address translation. The network address translation is NAT, also called as NAT. Mostly a NAT router is used at the ingress and the egress point. We can also call them at the entry and the exit points of the routers used in various other networks. If the networks want to communicate with the outside world, maybe a service on internet or maybe a service on any other network, or maybe a service which is located on the VPN of the same network, we have to move out of the network through the router. Now if you want to move through and fro the router, we have to use an NAT router. Another reason is that allocating a public IP address, maybe in an organization of say 5 or 6 custom people, if you are using, so a public IP may not be of that much of cost, but for an organization with 1,000 number of peoples or 1,000 number of computing nodes or thousands of computing nodes, getting a public IP for each of the hosts or each of the users is very uh, expensive. So in this case, what we do is with help of NAT router, we break down our public IP into private IPs for various users inside the network. And when the users want to communicate with the outside users, we do it with the help of the NAT router. As we can see in the NAT router, the host whose IP address is, or the private IP address is 172.18.3.1, is sending some data packet to the outside world, which is having its identifier. This particular data packet contains the data and the identifier, which identifies that this particular frame has been sent, or this data packet has been sent from this particular user only. So after it moves out of the network or out of the NAT router, its private IP is now changed to this public IP. That means the external world recognizes this particular data has been originated from this particular network. Now, after the processing has been done, when this external world is sending some data packet to the internal or to this particular host, so they'll be sending the data along with the public IP. Now, at this router, when the data is coming into the network, so here this will be converted to the private IP, which is shown there, and that will be received by the intended receiver. Now this is a tabular format showing how network address translation occurs. So this is a 5-column translation table which takes note of the private address, private port, external address, external port, and transport protocol. As we can see, so let's say for example this address is 172.18.3.1 and the private port is 1400. The external address is 25.8.3.2. External port is 80. That means probably this is using an HTTP service which is using a TCP protocol, and the same thing is happening with the other address also. So this is a diagram which is showing how an ISP utilizes NAT to allocate addresses to different subscribers. Now coming to IPv6 addresses, despite all the solutions, the IPv4 address space is depleting due to more number of users that is going off every single moment, every single day. So this various other problems which is associated with IPv4 also has led to the discovery of another IP protocol named as IPv6. An IPv6 address is 128 bits long, which looks like this, separated by, which contains 16 bytes or 32 hexadecimal digits. Those 32 hexadecimal digits are separated into 8 different blocks, and each of the block contains 4 hexadecimal digits separated by 7 colons in between. Now, how the abbreviation of IPv6 addresses are done? Let's say this is the original IPv6 address, which can be further abbreviated to FDEC. You can see 0074 has been abbreviated to 44, 0000 has been abbreviated to 0, and all these consecutive zeros have been also abbreviated to 0, 0. B0FF to B0FF, this 000 to also to 000, this FF0 to FF0. This, when we have 3 consecutive zeros together, we can further abbreviate it to FD is 74, 2 consecutive colons with a gap in between them, thereafter B0FF, then 0 and FF0. This is how abbreviation of IPv6 addresses can be done. So we have a problem like expand this particular IPv6 address to its original. So first we have to do is we need to align left side of the double colon. So if we see this is the double colon, so left side of the double colon to the left part, right side of the double colon to the right side of the original pattern. So the original pattern is like double X repeated 8 times. So this is the left part, this is the right part. And if we see this, we can easily say the original IP address is this. Reserved addresses in IPv6. So first 8 bits is 0. The 120 bit all 0, it's unsatisfied. I mean unspecified. First 8 bits is 0. The rest 120 bits. If the last bit is 1, it's a loopback address. If the first 8 bits are all zeros, then 88 bits are zeros. Thereafter 32 byte, we can say it's a IP, it contains an IPv4 address with an IPv6 mask. We can say it has a compatible IPv6 address. If it is all zeros for first 8 bits, then less 72 bits zeros, then 16 bits are all ones, then 32 bits are IPv4. You can say it's a mapped address. So this finishes our part of network addressing in the IPv4 and IPv6 addressing in the network layer. Thank you all.